after 5 years, a lot of things happen, which, when not tackled very carefully, will hurt your marriage relationship. Hello there, that's Felix. I thank you so much for your constant support for my channel. I welcome you to FJ Diaries. Right, so here we talk about relationship matters, everything relationship, as far as marriage is concerned, as far as human engagements are concerned. And so marriage after 5 years isn't what most people imagine during the honeymoon phase. Now the experience is usually real and revealing. Okay. And when that experience, the experience of marriage during the first 5 years, is carefully handled, the it actually ends up being deeply and extremely rewarding. And so, yeah, I quickly want us to look at what many couples experience around the 5 year mark, and afterwards, what every couple experiences from the fifth year going, after 5 years, and how to wade your way through all of those tendencies. With love, with grace, with mutual growth between the two of you, and respect for each other. I must say, every marriage goes through the after 5 year experience or journey. The first 5 years, they are the learning phases. The first year, second year, you would actually be learning from each other. But after 5 years, what happens? Those are what we are going to talk about. And so, if you have any experiences to share, something for us to learn from, don't feel reluctant to share them in the comment section. If you actually want to also ask any question, you are a prospective couple, you want to ask questions about certain things, feel free to ask those questions in the comment section. Right, so after the 5 year mark, one thing that happens is the honeymoon phase fades out. After the 5 year mark, you should not expect the honeymoon phase to continue after 5 years. It only depends on how you go about things. But ideally, after 5 years, you should expect that the honeymoon experience gradually should be phasing out. And so by the fifth year, the freshness of marriage might have worn off. And so you should have actually likely learned some amount of each other's likes and dislikes. Okay, knowing that this is what my spouse or my wife likes, this is what my husband likes, this is what my husband dislikes, this is what my wife dislikes. All of those things would have been learned. And so you are no longer operating on any high infatuation. And that's actually okay. There's nothing so wrong with things having to happen that way. Now, what replaces it is a kind of intimacy built on shared memories, okay, mutual responsibility, and daily companionship. And so you tend, as a result of that, to feel less need to want to impress your partner, and rather more comfort in wanting to be your full self. That is a tendency, and it's normal. It's a normal feeling. Now, you may also, after the first 5 years, you begin to experience a shift from being passion driven, okay, to seeking emotionally driven connection. That is one key thing. This aspect is very much important as far as the after 5 year period of marriage is concerned. Now, in all of this, don't, as a couple, don't actually mistake comfort for complacency. That error is dangerous to allow to happen. What you need to do is nurture with regular check-ins, okay, playful moments, date nights together, where possible, okay, that are not just about you both going out, but just being present with each other. These are very much important because when they are done, when they are done or carried out on a regular basis, they will help to keep your marriage relationship still feeling fresh so that you will end up appearing very much conscious of the moments after the first 5 years, not leaving things as let's just leave them to be what they want to become without having to make any conscious effort of dealing with certain things that, when left to remain, will hurt your journey together as couples. And so after the first 5 years, the honeymoon phase, hey, expect that to be fading out. And once you get to that stage, it tells there is so much work ahead to be done by the two of you. After the first 5 years, again, real life pressures intensify. That is another thing you should take note of. After the first 5 years, real life pressures increase, they intensify. Now, 5 years into the marriage, you actually find most couples getting deeply into the trenches of real life responsibilities to do with career, rent issues, issues to do with utilities, parenting challenges, financial goals either being reached or not being reached. I mean, extended family obligations, health concerns. Okay, in fact, the list is endless. There are so many things that become the worry of couples after the first 5 years, and that can be very draining. And so the fact is, these external pressures can sometimes pull partners apart, okay, or reveal cracks in their communication and teamwork abilities. In some instances, also, you may experience more disagreements. In fact, this happens in almost every marriage. More disagreements about money, about how to parent your children, how to raise your children, the sort of experience or exposures to give them, about time. Not spending time together, spending time on things that don't get the two of you coming together, things that make you feel and appear to be widely and emotionally disconnected. Disagreements on all these things. These are tendencies. And so there could also be stress, which likely would overshadow or affect intimacy, okay, between couples. There could also be a situation called the partnership dynamics, okay, where both of you coexist. You actually live together under the same roof, but barely or hardly connect with each other. After 5 years of marriage, these are possible experiences couples, most of them go through. And so in the face of all these tendencies, just ensure that you make your relationship a priority. Ensure you make your relationship a priority. Very much important. Not seeing it or treating it as the last item on the list. If your thought becomes that, then no, you'll be sitting on a time bomb. And so even when life gets so tough, very much louder to you, do well to arrange quiet moments together without screens, without any forms of tags, without your phones, any gadget that would actually get your attention of each other. Arrange those moments when it will just be the two of you alone, sitting together, spending time together, talking about your day, the challenges you faced at work, the worries you have in your mind, sharing that emotional connection together. And so after 5 years, pressures will keep on increasing. And when they are not handled very carefully, your marriage relationship will be extremely hurt. Again, after the first 5 years, bear in mind that you will begin to see long-term patterns. Long-term patterns. Before the very first year, the first 5 years, they were seen as short-term patterns. I mean, okay, that's what I've seen my husband do. He's always on his phone. Well, we are just starting the journey together. I'm sure he's going to stop. My wife is always on her phone. Yes, I'm sure maybe it's because she doesn't have anything so much important to do. So that is normal. First 5 years. After the first 5 years, you keep seeing the same thing happening. Whew. It actually becomes something to feel worried about. And so with time, what seemed like little habits in year one, year two, year three, now may feel like full-blown personality traits. So by this time, you might have had, or you might have actually cycled through similar conflicts multiple number of times, revealing deeper emotional patterns, talking about what you feel concerned about that is not being stopped. In real case scenario, you find one partner or both of you at certain times having to hear complaints like, you never listen to me, you are always on your phone. I mean, why do you keep doing this? You always shut down when I bring up an issue. I mean, something for us to discuss. Okay, we keep fighting or arguing about the same things almost every time. If you don't say that, your partner likely sometimes says that. And so these are tendencies. As far as your marriage is concerned, and as far as after the first 5 years of marriage, as far as that period is concerned, these are things that happen to most couples. And so the point is, if the same issues keep resurfacing, the same things keep happening, then it's actually time to dive deep beneath the surface. Okay, the level where you see those issues cropping up, repeating themselves over and over again. It's time to dive down below the surface and tackle those problems. You see, you may consider, to help you resolve such issues, you may consider therapy, okay, or couple coaching, to learn new ways of going about the challenges both of you may be having. If it has to do with communication, you're not being able to communicate well with each other, you find an answer, you find a solution for that. If it has to do with intimacy, you find a solution for that. If it has to do with loss of emotional connection, through the therapy, you're likely to be guided on how to recover that. Now, your partner's, your patterns, those patterns that likely will happen to your marriage after the first 5 years, normally are not the problem actually. Where the problem lies in this is when those identified long-term patterns are ignored and not given the needed attention. Here's what the problem is. And so it is very much important that when a long-term pattern of a behavior or a habit is identified by one partner and discussed with the other partner, the other who is expressing that habit will cooperate. When there comes to the cooperation between the two of you, it then creates the platform for you to be on your way to finding a solution to the problem. But where the other partner who is expressing that habit refuses to cooperate, there will then come to be an issue. On the other hand, when the other partner who is experiencing the expression of that habit decides to ignore it because my husband will stop it, there is a problem there too. And so after the first 5 years, bear in mind that you will begin to see long-term patterns. After the first 5 years, another thing you should take note of is intimacy evolves. your intimate life is likely to change. And so bear in mind that sex or physical affection can significantly drift or shift, okay, by a wide margin, okay, around the 5 year mark. After 5 years, during the first 5 years, hey, you were enjoying each other, hugging, kissing, having regular sex. I mean, it was just on point. But after 5 years, when you have pressures intensifying, you have long-term patterns, happening, occurring over and over again, the honeymoon phase phasing out, intimacy will equally change. So this might actually be due to stress. I mean, changing bodies as a result of several biological or environmental factors. Pressures with raising kids in the family. That could also be the reason of emotional disconnection. And so some of these major things can trigger intimacy evolution. And mind you, they are tendencies, they are normal. But once they begin to happen, it means they must be given the required attention. And so what once felt effortless may now require real intention. At first, you could actually hold each other, kiss each other on the forehead, on the lip, hug so easily. But after 5 years, the worries you have in your mind are several. And so it may not actually sometimes occur to you to hug or kiss your partner before going to work because you are on fire already that early morning, wanting to quickly leave the house and go to work. So here you are going to have to be intentional about it. After 5 years journey of marriage, what an experience. And so you may actually begin noticing a drop, a drop in desire for one partner or both partners after the first 5 years. You may also, in some cases, notice couples feeling more like roommates or co-parents than lovers. At some point, one partner or both partners may even express awkwardness. Okay, may feel so awkward about initiating intimacy. Okay, I mean these can be emotionally draining, very draining. And so, what do you have to do now to improve such matters? What you need to take note of is redefine intimacy as more than just sex. See it from that perspective, not only about sex. Begin making use of physical closeness by regularly hugging each other, kissing each other on the forehead. Okay, begin making use of emotional vulnerability where you share with each other your fears. I mean, what you feel so worried about that you need your partner to support you to overcome. Okay, you share those vulnerable moments together. You begin also making use of laughter. I mean, there are times when you can decide to watch funny videos together, laugh together. Okay, create fun moments, tickling each other all of a sudden when your spouse is not even aware of that particular move you may be making towards her or him over a certain period. Okay, begin making use of affection by checking in, sending text messages. Johnny, how you doing? How's your day going? Calling to on a regular basis. And so that will actually help to create a healthy connection between the two of you. This must be intentionally carried out. Now, in addition to that, you schedule intentional time for physical and emotional bonding, not out of obligation, but as a form of investment. Invest in the marriage. After 5 years, a lot of things happen. which, when not tackled very carefully, will hurt your marriage relationship. After 5 years, another thing you should take note of is growth together. Growth together or apart becomes a choice. Growing together or apart becomes a choice. And so by the 5th year, people start to change in different directions. That's a tendency. What matters during this period is whether you are still growing together. In some cases, some couples drift into separate worlds, minding their own businesses without even realizing it. And so others may deepen their shared vision. While others are minding their own businesses, you find others focusing on growing together, having shared moments together. This is a tendency after the first 5 years of marriage. Now, when you notice that this is happening to you as a couple, revisit your vision. Okay, revisit your vision as a couple. Intentionally talk about where you are presently together. Intentionally talk about what has actually gotten shifted. Intentionally talk about where you want to go in the next years together. Talk about these things, both as individuals and as partners. And it's very much important. Now, 5 years of marriage is not the end of romance or connection. It's actually the beginning of something more authentic. It's the point where love moves from projection to truth. It's the point where affection shifts from being impulsive to being intentional. It is actually also the point after 5 years of marriage where growth becomes conscious and not accidental. And so the fact is, marriage isn't, or is actually not about maintaining the illusion of constant bliss, illusion of constant beauty. No, it's about intentionally creating safety, intentionally creating joy, intentionally creating resilience. Okay, it's actually about having that honest, strong desire together to make things work between the two of you over time. Marriage after 5 years is no child's play. But when you mean business together as a couple, you can withstand the storm together, make things work beautifully. The story will be a sort of inspiration to many more others who may be thinking of also getting into that space together as couples. Always remember this: let love lead. Thank you so much for having watched me to this end. Like this video, share with others, comment in the comment section, and subscribe to the channel.